What's happening, everybody? Testing out some new equipment and still have a long way to go. So I apologize if things are a little bit off today, but please let me know in the chat how things are sounding. Excuse me. And overall, just let me know how things are. If I need to make some adjustments, we'll have to go back and watch and figure it out. So what happened? The Detroit Lions were looking so promising up until today, and man, they got absolutely crushed. So, look, I apologize. It's my fault, right? I called the Lions loss back in August. I said that they were going to lose to the Ravens, and they did. But they didn't just lose. They got completely killed. So, let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. What needs to happen for next week? We've got a Monday night game against the Raiders. This can't happen again. You know, and as the Lions have shown us throughout the season, right? They learn, they grow, they pivot, they move on, they get better week after week. Today, that didn't happen. Right away, we should have known there's going to be some problems. Lions had some inactives pop up that we didn't really expect. Jerry Jacobs with a knee. I mean, he's been playing lights out. He's been doing a heck of a job for the Detroit Lions this season. And give me just 1 second. I actually got to make sure this gets out. Anyway, Jerry's been doing a heck of a job. You know, I called him a liability early in the season. And in about week 3 or so, he really started to step up. And he totally changed the way that he was playing the game. And he was very effective, not only with getting, you know, turnovers and interceptions, but just his style of play totally changed. And it kind of, for once, was not good to have him on the field. So I think that shows us something, right? I mean, the trade deadline's coming up. The Lions need to make some moves. I hate to say it, but I hope Brad Holmes, for once, does not stay inactive on trade deadline. He's got to do something different for this defense to stay at the top level that they are. They really need to bring in some players that can stay healthy and stay on the field and produce. Anyway, give me just 1 second here. I feel like my microphone's cutting out too much, so let me just fix it real quick. So how's everybody doing on this Sunday afternoon outside of outside of the Lions getting crushed, right? It's demoralizing loss. It's a loss that, you know, nobody really expected, but it happened. I guess I expected it. It's my fault. The one thing I will note, and a few things that I want to talk about, is referees. This game was eerily similar to the Chiefs game, where we've seen a lot of holding of the Lions defensive line by the Ravens offensive line, and a lot of false starts by the Ravens offensive line. It's almost like, you know, a few teams have picked up on that, where what the Chiefs got away with, they didn't get away with in the second game the next week. A lot of teams are starting to use that to their advantage, where they're bringing their tackle back beyond the center's midline, and until the refs call it, they're just not going to do anything about it. So, is what it is. All right. So, first and foremost, like I was saying, Lions inactives today that kind of jumped up. We were not expecting Jerry Jacobs, Charles Harris. We knew Montgomery was going to be out. Marvin Jones was a late addition this week for personal reasons. I had a feeling that he was more of a healthy scratch, and they might just be utilizing the personal exemption for Marvin, you know, to kind of save face, but who knows? I mean, it is what it is. Jonah Jackson, another big one for this offensive line, and you could see today that the Lions could not keep Goff clean. I think he took 5 sacks. Take a look here. And box score, Jared Goff took 5 sacks, lost 31 yards. So he lost almost half the amount of yards today that he's lost all season. For the season heading into this game, I believe he was 61 or 68 yards, somewhere in that arena. So bad day for Jared Goff. Extremely bad day. All right. Let's talk about some stats. Jared Goff was 33 of 53, 284 yards. Immediately the defense was not giving the offense any sort of options today. They had to pass the ball right away. The running game was not going to be serviceable, even if it was effective today. When your defense lets up 4 touchdowns pretty quickly, it's not real easy for an offense to go in and utilize the game plan that they put together. When you're on your heels, that's when offenses start to collapse. They can't execute what they planned on executing today. They had to totally change the game plan, and shift into passing mode. Did it happen? Not right away. Should it have happened a little quicker? Probably. Did it make a difference? It didn't. Jahmyr Gibbs, 11 carries for 68 yards. I mean, a paltry 68 yards. I mean, he didn't get anything going at all. And I realized they abandoned the run, pretty quickly. And some of these yards I feel were, garbage time yards, if you want to call it that, where the defense is playing to prevent anything downfield, and they're allowing the middle of the field to kind of be open, or at least the line of scrimmage to be open for 4, 5, 6 yards. So give me just a second. I'm getting a little bit of feedback here, and I really want to get this fixed before I go much further. At least try to get it fixed. All right, let's see if that's better. All right. We're gonna roll with that for a second. So again, I see that I got someone new in. Welcome to Rock Down Detroit Lions. Thanks for jumping in. Tested out new equipment today, so there's going to be some issues, and I apologize. I'm going to work through it. I wasn't even going to jump on because the BIOS crashed, and I've been trying to get everything fixed, and it's just been a problem. But I at least wanted to jump in a little bit. So I guess for me, today when you look at how poorly the Lions played on defense, were they not prepared? I mean, did they not watch any tape? Because that's what it looked like. I mean, I get it. The refs are a problem, and the NFL should be on notice from this game. Absolutely. Just like the picture says in the thumbnail, the NFL has to be on notice for this stuff. I mean, how many games are the Lions going to go into and be controlled by the referees? It's terrible. And I'm not saying that's the whole reason why the Lions lost, because that's not the whole reason. The main reason why they lost, and excuse me, I'm putting this one on Dan Campbell today and Aaron Glenn. I feel like between the two of them, something was missed. And I realized, we had a few players out today, but there wasn't enough missing on this defense that couldn't do what they've been able to do for the last, 5 weeks now. This is definitely 100% on Aaron Glenn. And if I see what's about to happen this week, it's going to be just like after the Seattle game. Aaron Glenn is about to get ripped apart by Dan Campbell. And next week against the Raiders, they're going to totally slaughter him. It's going to be a 180 by this defense by next week, Monday, or 2 Mondays from now. So I guess it's something that has to be said. Why are these giant letdowns happening with the Detroit Lions? We saw it in Seattle. Now we've seen it against the Ravens. 2 teams that are beatable. The Lions are losing to the Birds 2 out of 3 games this season. And it doesn't make any sense. If you're out there and if you're listening, if you've had a chance to jump in now, I just shared the stream to the page and the groups. You are able to call in. And we do have a call-in feature. Again, we're testing new equipment. So if you'd like to call in today, you can. If you'd like to talk about the Detroit Lions, the number is 312-0348. Again, that's 313-312-0348. When I see you call, I'll put you on mute and bring you in, and we'll chat about it. So, all right, where was I? Look, Amon-Ra, decent day. Look, he got his 100. He seems to get his 100 every single time. But Jared Goff had to chuck the ball 53 times today. He had to chuck it 53 times just to be able to do anything, and it proved nothing. Jahmyr Gibbs had 58 yards through the air. I'm glad to see that they finally got him involved in the passing game. It was just a little bit too late, too little. Sam Laporta, decent day, 6 for 52. To back up, Jahmyr Gibbs, 9 of 58. So he got targeted quite a bit today. That was a big part of the game plan. Again, just too little, too late. Josh Reynolds, 2 of 43. Khalif Raymond, 2 of 20. And I never did watch to see if he came back from injury. I know he was down on the field for a while, but I stepped away trying to fix this computer. So not real sure what happened to him there. Antoine Green got blanked, and of course, Jameson Williams got blanked. And that's the biggest disappointment for me, is why Jameson Williams can't seem to get into the game plan. Something's not clicking for the kid. Look, I get it. Amon-Ra, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Sam Laporta were the 3 biggest targets for Jared. And Jameson Williams is going to have to earn his way back onto this team and earn his way to getting some targets. But either Ben Johnson's got to put some trust in him and they've got to start chucking on the ball, or something's going on with Jameson Williams that we don't know. So that's my take on that. Look, this defense has got to fix it and fix it in a hurry. Jared Goff lost a couple of fumbles. He was under a ton of pressure today. Look, this is not the offensive line that we're used to. Jonah Jackson was out. But again, that should not have been enough for this offense to perform the way that it did. And I get it. They were under a ton of pressure. The defense wasn't giving them good opportunities. The defense wasn't getting, the Ravens offense off the field. So there's a lot to talk about. I did not expect to see what I saw today. Not even in the slightest. Few takeaways from the game. Look, Dan Campbell has earned a significant amount of press, right? This team has earned a lot of respect from the league. A lot. It's a show me business. The Lions have been showing everybody who they are. They're playing really good ball. They didn't today. This game really appeared to be 2 evenly high-powered offenses. Evenly matched high-powered offenses with fairly even defenses. And it was just one of those days for the Lions. I mean, when a fullback catches a 28-yard pass, it's not going to be your day. Fullback can't beat you like that. Just can't happen. Can't happen. This was by far the Lions defense worst performance of the entire season. Collectively. And I mean that all around the board. Every single player on this team folded. And I apologize if the audio is coming through a little bit, little glitchy here, because I really don't know what the heck's going on with it. Let's see if that helps. There, let's see if this helps. We'll bring it back just a little bit. All right. There we go. All right. So we'll see if that helps. I've just got to get it figured out. It's just one of these things, learning new equipment. It's going to take a minute. So, look, defensively, this team allowed the Ravens to score touchdowns on each of their first 4 offensive drives, quickly putting the Lions behind 28-0. How is an offense going to go in and run their, scripted plays, right? Everything that they schemed up this entire last week on how to beat the Ravens, how are they going to use it now? They can't. They've got to scrap a large majority of it. You're not going to be able to run the ball effectively because you don't have David Montgomery in as it is. So that changed a lot today. It changed a lot for the, how this offense was going to perform and how they were going to run their offense to be successful. And nothing was clicking. Absolutely nothing. The Ravens took advantage of the Lions secondary today, and they did it early. After winning the opening toss, the Ravens quickly marched down the field. I mean, it would seem like there was nobody on the field to stop them. There was a few penalties early. There was a couple of penalties that negated each other, which, I didn't really believe that Walker was at fault there. But, there was so much going on today with the refs. It was laughable. The Lions really had to rely upon Will Harris today and in replacing Jerry Jacobs, and that didn't bode so well for Harris. He had a bad day. And look, he's been playing good ball too. He's been playing good ball. At least he's been playing complementary football with the rest of his team. He really depends on the guys around him to play well. The Ravens came into this game to pick on Will Harris, and they did a great job. Real tough to stop players like Odell Beckham and Zay Flowers when you don't have the right cornerbacks in to stop them. You don't have guys with speed or guys that can get into position. I mean, I saw way too many passes today that were wide open over the middle of the field, and that has been the Lions' Achilles heel. But where does it start? Right? It starts up front. The Lions could not get any pressure today, and the pressure they did get, they never got home. Not once really. They get home. And it wasn't about being a mobile quarterback, right? It wasn't about a mobile quarterback getting the best of them because, well, let's just look at Jackson's stats. It's not like he was running all over the place today. He had 36 yards on the ground. He was the least effective of the running backs, right? Gus Edwards put down 64 and Justice Hill put down 46, 146 yards on the ground. Twice as much as what the Lions have let up the entire season per game. So, look, it wasn't the fact that Lamar Jackson was a mobile quarterback because today he stood back and slung that football for 357 yards on 21 completions. Let me say that again. 21 completions, 357 yards. Look, if you want to call in and talk about it, you want to tell me how you feel about this game and what happened, give us a ring. 313-312-0348. You'll be on the line with Rocked On Detroit Lions today. 17 yards a catch. That doesn't include after the catch, I don't think, but that's 17 yards a grab by these Ravens wide receivers today. When most teams are, that are doing well are averaging about 7-8 yards a catch. The Lions secondary got torched. Brad Holmes, please go out and trade and find some sort of a cornerback that can stop this, because for whatever reason, all season long, when any team has come in to play the Detroit Lions, they've had success over the middle. And it's got to stop. And when I say over the middle, I don't mean the linebackers. I'm talking 10, 12, 14 yards down the field. Look, we can do a great job at stopping it if we can get pressure and get home. And all I saw today from Aiden Hutchinson and Kaminsky, Kaminsky had Jackson early in the game stopped, and he just went right around him for a touchdown. Kaminsky bit in hard, which, I'd rather have him bite in hard, but there was nobody outside to stop him. Aiden Hutchinson's taking wrong angles today. Just about every Detroit Lion on the front line was taking wrong angles today. It's been a consistent issue. It reared its ugly head today, and it's just it's not something that we needed today. So, man, it's a tough one to swallow. So Lamar Jackson in this offense, they capitalize on their first opening drive. 7 plays, 75 yards, and then a 7-yard scamper into the end zone, which again should have been stopped. On that play, Detroit's defense did not set the edge at all. Kaminsky collapsed on the play, action fake. Like I said a minute ago, Jack Campbell did not maintain his defensive responsibility, allowing the speedy quarterback, Mr. Lamar Jackson, to find the end zone. So these things have got to get fixed, Aaron Glenn. They have to. We cannot allow these things to continue. They have a decently matched team coming in with the Raiders next week, and then they're off. And during that time, they're going to have to get this stuff fixed because they have a long haul in front of them the last 8 games of the season after the Raiders. For whatever reason, Lamar Jackson has turned into a better pocket passer. I'm not going to say he's great. He just beat up a really bad secondary today. And he didn't have to utilize his legs. He's losing his legs. He's not using them as much this season. Whether that's the offensive coordinator scheming it a little bit differently and telling him not to run the ball or whatever, whether he's just slowing down as he's, aging through the NFL. he's finding that his arm is what's being utilized more often to beat the other teams. And that's what he's been doing all season long. So there was two options, and I didn't get to do my pre-show, but when I wrote everything to talk about the game ahead of time, it was very simple to me. Knowing that Jackson hasn't been running this season, are you going to sell out to stop Jackson? Or do you want to go and stop the wide receivers? I would have let Jackson do his thing. Let him beat you on the ground. Look, it's not something that the Lions have been able to, stop in the past, right? I mean, all the teams last season that had mobile quarterbacks gashed the crap out of us. Fields and Hurts, 3 times they got us last season. So given the way that this defense has been playing this season, I guess I would have expected Detroit to come in and shut down these wide receivers. And for whatever reason, they decided not to. They decided that they were going to focus on Jackson, but still not get home for whatever reason. And that can't happen. You've got to go in with the plan that you're either going to, shut them all down or pick out the biggest weapon. And the biggest weapon was these wide receivers. And clearly at 357 yards, you can see why. So receiving, Gus Edwards, 1 reception, 80 yards. Can't happen. Zay Flowers, 4 receptions, 75 yards. I mean, unbelievable amount of yards per pass. Mark Andrews, their tight end, 4 receptions, 63 yards. Odell Beckham didn't have the greatest day. Look, he was utilized where he needed to be. 5 catches of 49 yards. Mark Andrews ended up with 2 TDs. Rashad Bateman, 2 catches for 36. Patrick Ricard, 2 for 31. I mean, look, Lamar Jackson did an excellent job getting his entire team in on getting the ball. Altogether, there's 3, 6, 9 guys that caught a ball today for the Ravens. Yeah. It's a bad loss. I guess, I'm kind of running out of things to talk about because it's such a bad loss that it shouldn't happen. It just shouldn't happen. All right. Let me see what we got up next here. All right. Lions unable to finish drives. So the Lions entered the day having scored touchdowns on 51.5% of the drives that moved inside their opponent's 40-yard line, the 4th highest rate in the NFL. Today, 1 touchdown in 5 such drives, including 2 turnovers on downs and 1 interception. Look, the interception shouldn't have happened either. Goff's been playing great football. He's been protecting the ball. But when you have to sling the rock 50 times, you are going to throw an interception. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't care what quarterback you are. You're not going to sling the ball 50 times in the NFL without a turnover. And I'm willing to bet some stats on that. And we'll have to go back and look. But you go look at the majority of games where a quarterback has had to throw the ball 50 times in a game, and they're going to throw a pick. That's why you need a running game. So, a record that Detroit really doesn't want to set or doesn't want to have. Look, they've had a number of terrible stretches in NFL history. I think we're all not naive to that, right? But the Lions have never had at least one 29-point loss now in 4 straight seasons. So, again, today, this Lions team is just setting records the wrong way. And they've got to go in and correct it next week. They have to. But, the one thing that I'm happy about, I did say that Jahmyr Gibbs would finally get his first TD in this game, and he did. And I'm super ecstatic for the guy to be able to get that check mark, checked on his list. He's done. He doesn't need to worry about getting his first anymore. He just needs to worry about getting 10 more. And it was great to see him get in. But it didn't help us, right? It didn't help us win the game. But at least he got that done. Monkey's off his back now, so to speak, right? Entering the fourth quarter, the Lions are down 35-0. How are you going to win games in 15 minutes and needing, 7 scores, 6 scores, 5 scores? It's just not going to happen. This game was lost at the end of the second quarter. The minute you're down by more than 3 touchdowns, good luck. Not in the NFL. Look, we've seen it happen. We've seen teams come back, but you're not going to come back against a defense that's playing that way and an offense that's able to go out and score at will. It's just not going to happen. So, look, I don't have a ton to say today, but I at least had to come in to get a couple of things off my chest and talk about these Detroit Lions because it's what we're here to do. I know that they're going to bounce back. I know that they're going to get it together. And I know that they're going to beat the Raiders. Those are going to be my early predictions for next week. So, all right, I'm going to work on getting my mics and whatnot fixed and getting this equipment taken care of. And we're going to be back and better than ever next week with Rock Down Detroit Lions. Again, when we're on, you guys are able to call us now, 313-312-0348. We want to hear from you. And as usual, or as always, do us a favor, like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Rockdown Podcast Network. We will be changing the name to at Rockdown Detroit Lions or at Rockdown Lions here pretty soon. And since everybody is looking for Lion stuff, I think we're going to change that channel, and then we're going to open up another channel. And until we do that, though, at Rockdown Podcast Network, find us, like, share, and subscribe. We've got about 130 videos up so far this season. We're going to get another 130 done before the end of the season. So, all right, y'all. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Sorry the Lions couldn't get a win. It is what it is. You win some, you lose some. I called it in August. I said that this was going to be the first loss, after the Chiefs. Thankfully, hey, they won the Chiefs game. They're doing better than we anticipated, right? They won the Chiefs game. They lose to the Ravens. They lose to the Seahawks. We're still sitting good. It's only one loss. It's a long season. And I only see one more loss on the schedule. And I put that out a few weeks ago. I think the Cowboys could be a tough test if they get healthy and stay healthy and they fix a few things that they have. They have a really good defense. I don't think their offense is as great as what people think, but I think they have a good defense. So when I look at the schedule, Andy might have been right. The Lions might go 14-3 this season. I changed my prediction to go 15-2, but I did not think that they would lose this game today after reevaluating how the Lions were playing and how this defense was playing. I expected them to pull it out today. I really did. But it didn't happen. So on to the next one. We're going to rinse and repeat and move on ourselves. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care. Go Detroit Lions. Go One Pride. Peace out.